Let me ask you, sir, was this known before you asked this question at this hearing today? And why did you ask the question?
Absolutely not. And the reason I asked the question was because we asked a question maybe a year ago at a previous hearing that we had with Mueller about, and it was with the Department of Justice generally, because these are all in the Department of Justice. We asked about DEA, FBI, and ATF if they use drones. We got word then that DEA and ATF did use drones, but we never got any answer on the FBI. Well, that's we still want to know about the FBI, so that's why I asked the question today, and it was very enlightening.
So the Senator, was the FBI stonewalling you there by not giving you that information?
You know, I suppose since bureaucracies generally stonewall, but I'm not going to accuse them of that because I don't know for sure. And so we followed up today with a question. We got the answer, and I'm sending a letter now to get more detail on the amount of use, detail on what he meant when they seldom or rarely use them surveying American soil and under what conditions, just to get this information out, because I think the right of privacy is at stake. If there's a legitimate law enforcement reason for using them, they ought to say what that law enforcement reason is, et cetera.
And Senator Grassley, the FBI did release a statement to CNN saying that they do use drones on a limited basis, but they did point to one case where a drone was used. They say in that Alabama standoff that happened earlier this year, the Jimmy Lee Dykes hostage situation. You might remember that, Senator. There was a 5-year-old who was being held captive by Mr. Dykes, and apparently the FBI is saying they used a drone in that circumstance. Do you believe that that type of law enforcement situation, a standoff essentially, might be appropriate for drones?
Well, I'm surely not going to find fault with the use where they saved the life of a young boy. That's very legitimate. Well, what we're up against here on this whole thing, and maybe not just involving the FBI, but there's a lot of distrust for government because the AP thing, what goes on in Benghazi, and we aren't getting any answers on this and that with the IRS, and because of that mistrust, we've got to nail these things down. The people have a right to know, and it's just getting the information out there.
And I mean, you raise a good point there, Senator, because, you know, we're not finding out about these things until they sometimes come out in committee hearings. The head of the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper, was asked at a recent hearing about the use of data collection of phone calls. And during that hearing, he denied that that was going on. It later turned out to be true. Are you concerned that the government, that the federal government, that the Obama administration is not being upfront enough with you and the other senators there about what they're doing on a range of issues?
Yeah, but I don't know whether, obviously, what happens during this administration is under the president's fault, and you know, it ends with him. But the point is that this is a general distrust of government, and this use of drones is so new, and privacy is a big concern now, as evidenced by the intelligence stuff that has just now come out.
Director Mueller said that there aren't any rules of the road, essentially, for the drones to be used. I mean, is that a problem?
Well, you know, I asked the question backwards in a sense. I was assuming since they have them that there is some policy there, and maybe he was saying to me that the policy isn't there, and that's another reason for writing the letter so we can get this nailed down. You know, it isn't so much what government does, it's the mystery behind what the government does that breeds the mistrust. So whatever we can get out there without hurting our national security, we ought to get out. And the use of drones is one of them. It's such a new thing. People know about them just in the military. It's a new thing for law enforcement or the commercial use of drones. Right. We don't even know how to deal with this ourselves in the Judiciary Committee. We're just scratching the surface at this point. But we got to get to the bottom of it. My letter to the FBI is just one part of that.